Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a special comic book nerd edition of the Affinity Streaming Podcast. I wanted to do Deadpool versus Wolverine, so I found the two biggest nerds I know. Welcome, Jay and Leonard. How are you guys doing?
Wow, with a welcome like that, I guess we're doing all right. Let's bring it on.
Awesome. Cool. Today's movie is called Deadpool and Wolverine, or is it Deadpool versus Wolverine? It's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah.
2024, rated R, with a runtime of 2 hours and 7 minutes. And if you have not seen this movie, spoilers are ahead. But before I get started, I want to ask you guys to please follow me on my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel. We are at Affinity Streaming Podcast. All right, Leonard, give me a brief just overview of what you thought of the movie.
Well, you have to know that I came in with the expectation of not wanting to be interested in the movie at all because being a baby boomer, I'm used to the traditional, let's do it, give me some action and respond to it. But you guys convinced me over a holiday to watch the movie. And I actually thought it was a good transition from a person like me who believes in all action to actually putting in a little bit of emotion, a little bit of feeling, and some humor. So I enjoyed the movie overall, but never would have watched it without you guys encouraging me.
Well, listen, as a Gen Xer, all right, I thought the movie was awesome. I thought the action was great. The comedy was great. Lots of blood. I loved it. My kids loved it. My girlfriend loved it. My wife loved it. Everybody loved it.
Awesome. I guess I don't remember any emotion part of it, but I guess there was some emotion and comedy. It was directed by Sean Levy, who also did The Night at the Museum, so he's used to making movies for kids, I guess. It's currently streaming on Disney Plus, released July 26, 2024 in the States, starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 78 critics and 94% audience, and a 6.3 on Film Affinity. Jay, tell me your favorite, most emotional, most moving scene, your favorite scene of the movie.
My favorite scene, well, emotional and favorite, two different ones. Okay, the favorite scene was the Wolverine montage where they showed all the different Wolverines. Deadpool was looking. They still had a lot of throwbacks to the comics. I love the brown suit. That's my favorite suit, and he looked great in it. Hugh Jackman looked great in it. So, but the emotional, I mean, everybody's gonna say the emotional favorite scene was the end when Wolverine and Deadpool. That was powerful, man.
Was it?
Yeah.
I must have fell asleep at that point. Go ahead, Leonard. What was your favorite scene?
Well, I kind of think my favorite scene was where Wolverine and Deadpool learned to congeal together. They decided they were on the same team. Before that, Wolverine was my traditional Wolverine. Like, what kind of nerd is this I'm having to deal with? But then when they learned, like, okay, we're in together. I can take your sense of humor. I can deal with it and go ahead on with it. So it was kind of like when Wolverine started to adapt to Deadpool, or at least accept him for who he was.
So is this before or after the minivan scene? Was this?
I think that was like after the minivan scene.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say my favorite entrance. You're gonna catch a theme here. Was when Blade walked in, like that. When he walked on the scene, I just I lost it. That was like my favorite part of the movie. That was the most exciting part to me.
Because you're a big Blade fan?
I'm a big Blade fan. Also, Blade was the first movie I ever owned on DVD. So it was like Blade and DVD. I watched it 100 times because that's the only DVD I had for like 3 months. So it meant a lot. Jay, did you have a favorite character or actor?
I mean, Ryan Reynolds' favorite actor. Deadpool was a standout character. I mean, come on, this guy.
Did you enjoy the first two movies?
I did. I did, and surprisingly, I enjoyed the second one more than the first one. I mean, I think that was more so because of Domino. But anyway, I think I like the character. I like Ryan Reynolds.
So I oppose it. I like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Because I think he's like a better, more versatile character all around. And you mentioned the first two movies, and I told you I was not a fan because when I tried out with the first two movies, I just thought, first of all, Deadpool having that ability to reincarnate himself or to not die, the Wolverine factor. I thought, how did they do that? You can't recreate that. That's Wolverine, strictly Wolverine. Stop copying.
The mutant healing factor.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
Deadpool, he got that out of his experience, his chemical experience. Nah,
I get. Didn't they have a similar
Yeah,
backstory?
they were all part of Weapon X, but wasn't so did you like the comic Deadpool in the comics at all or no?
I didn't
No.
do the
Who,
comics for Deadpool.
me? No.
Oh,
Like I
okay.
said, too goofy, man. I can't deal with goofy comic books.
This guy.
So, Contrail, help us out a little bit here.
Yeah.
So, I've identified myself as a baby boomer. Jay identified himself, and it sounds like you were like in between.
I think I'm earlier Gen X than Jay is. I think
But
I am.
highly influenced by baby boomers, apparently.
I don't know, maybe a little bit, but I'm not as cranky as baby boomers, and not as like entitled. I don't know what the word is, but I'm not as cranky as you old people are.
Wait, as entitled as Gen Xers, you mean? Baby boomers are in no way
Whoa,
entitled.
whoa,
Well,
whoa.
well, I think Gen Xers like. Nah, yeah, I'm more Gen X than I am baby boomer, or
Okay.
yeah, okay. What would you have changed about the movie, Leonard? Anything you would change about it?
Um, I think I would have tried to bring in a few more Marvel characters. I would have thrown in like a couple of live shots of Thor making a visit. Somebody kind of making a visit, and because the Thor
More
movies.
characters?
Well, I think the Thor movies, I guess selective characters. I would select different characters. Like I think the Thor movies have kind of gone that way, and so he could have maybe fit into that, came in for a little bit of cameo. So I think I would have done something like that. Brought in maybe Thor. Um, Ant-Man would have fit in good with that kind of
Did they
feeling.
only do like the Sony X-Men characters? Like were there any real Marvel universe
Yeah,
characters?
yeah. I think it kind of turned into like a Fox like homage film after a while,
Uh,
and so they had a lot of the old Fox Studios people show up.
Mm.
I think that was kind of the theme they were going for. You know.
Did you have was there anything you would have changed, Jay?
Um, I mean, I would have brought Deadpool into the main MCU timeline at the end, maybe something like that. That bothered me too about the movie. In the beginning, he goes to the sacred timeline, Earth 616. Okay, how did he get there? How did he get there? He
I
he's
mean,
got he had Cable's time thing, all right, but that wasn't TVA's tech. So how did he jump universes? That was only a time machine.
because Marvel movies don't care and
Okay,
don't make any
all right,
sense.
all right.
Because there you go,
okay,
they
we're
don't
gonna
care.
avoid that until later on, right? We're not gonna compare Marvel to DC right now.
No,
I hope.
I'm not comparing. I'm just saying, like they don't care. They just make
S-
the entertainment for entertainment's sake.
And you bring up something in that always bothered me that I had to make an adjustment to. Is I try to be true to the original comics or to the original timeline, and so I try to make sense out of things that they transition to. But like Jay brought up, they create these timeline machines that allow them to go back and redo whatever they wish, and I have a problem with that because I like to try to stay somewhere in the basics and say logically I can figure out this should happen, this should happen, this should happen. But the comics went away from that a long time ago, and
Yeah, the comics do that also.
yep.
Just flip a switch and start over.
Yeah, specifically DC. I mean,
Yeah.
uh,
Anyway, I feel like, do you think you would have enjoyed the movie as much if it wasn't for the cameos?
no,
Uh,
No.
no.
I don't think. I think the cameos gave me some degree of entertainment in there too. I think that was a good little touch.
Yeah, I feel like that was the main selling point to me. Like all the cameos that kept the
Yep,
movie going.
yep.
Um, anyway, so which one of these characters do you think deserve their own spinoff?
What we throwing this at?
Jay, go ahead.
I'm gonna say X23. The
Oh, that makes sense. I didn't even
I,
think about her.
yeah, I would dig that as a
They
solo
kind
film.
of didn't use her a lot in this movie. I felt like.
Yeah, yeah, she was underused. She was
Yeah.
underused, but I would definitely. I feel like a solo film, she would kill that.
I guess the obvious answer also is Gambit. Gambit.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Well, you just I'm with the obvious. Hey, baby boom, I'm the obvious, so you just pick me up. Definitely Gambit. I
Definitely
always liked
Gambit.
Gambit in the comic, and I always thought that he didn't get enough written page time or enough screen time in the movies. Except for the animated series, he got quite a few time in there. But I'm a Gambit fan.
All right, Gambit it is.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
All right, so in the end, are you recommending this movie to family and friends?
I am to those who understand comics, but to those who are looking for uh, totally realistic or a twist on realistic, a soap opera type, I don't do that with them. It's got to be somebody that has the capacity to understand reality and bring in the relationship and figure out how this mimics reality, kind of like the Star Trek series now. Now we're having people realize that, wow, Star Trek was ahead of their time. But during the time when it was there, those same people were saying, oh, stupid, why are you watching that? So I recommend it to people who can understand it, like at the barbershop today. I mentioned what was going on, and man, this guy gave me his number, and he wanted to get in right now. If we dial that number right now, he'd pick up because he said he got the Black Panther 1 through 201, and every other series. He asked me what my collection was, and I told him about Your History Trail, and he was like, "Oh, I got to meet him, man. I got to meet him." So people like that, I definitely recommend it to. Yeah.
All right, well, next time I'm in town for a haircut, I'll swing by.
All right, we'll do. I can tell you need that haircut pretty bad.
Jay, you recommending this movie?
I mean, to friends more so than family, I guess, is it's kind of a tough sell for. I mean, specifically our family, it would be a tough sell. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. I
uh,
guess if you've watched 1 and 2, you may as well watch 3. But if you're
yeah,
not a hardcore
yeah, that's
Deadpool person, don't start with Deadpool 3.
yeah.
All right. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Finnish Streaming Podcast. You should be. But we like to recommend movies from stars in this movie. We recommend some of their other works.
Mm.
And I'm just gonna go with Hugh Jackman and Logan because that was my favorite Marvel movie. Actually, Eternals was my favorite Marvel movie, surprisingly. But
Wow.
Logan was my second favorite Marvel movie. So I'm gonna recommend Hugh Jackman and Logan. I recommend you guys all go watch that. Leonard, do you have a recommendation for us?
I could probably ride on the Hugh Jackman Logan because to me that was pretty good connection, and it also showed the connection between our generation, so to speak. When we saw Logan actually relating to a young character, a young female character, and the older character, then I thought that would be pretty good. I can go with that. I'll check mark it.
I'm gonna go with Ryan Reynolds. Okay, he did this movie called the Adam Project. I think Sean Levy actually directed that too. The Adam
I believe
Project.
he did. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct. That's correct.
that was
Is that a
pretty.
kids movie or?
I mean, it was more so like a kids film.
Okay, just
but
like
I mean,
Deadpool.
yeah, well, not like Deadpool. But I mean, it was a good film. It had comedy, it had action, just none of the hardcore stuff. So take out all the blood and the gore. It's got everything else. So
All right. What was it called again?
I think it's the Adam Project.
The Adam Project, starring Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Directed by Levy. Ah, nice, cool. All right, before we wrap up, any other things you want to bring up about this movie?
Jay, I'll go in and let you drop the mic. You like better at this than me. All right, so I'll put mine in and you can drop the mic on it. I think movies like that help to take the older original game OG comic people from where they were to where it currently is, and I think encouraging a movie like that could probably bring back comic sales, do a lot for comic sales. So that's my take.
Nice. I enjoyed. I guess we should mention Chris Evans' part too. I enjoyed his twist ending because you just assumed he was going to be Captain America and he wasn't.
Yeah.
So I'll give a shout out to that as another honorable mention thing that happened in this movie.
Speaking of Chris Evans, the end credit scenes where he's like just ripping into cassette, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny.
But I want to say a quote that I'm gonna keep from this movie for the rest of my life. All right, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this daily. Okay, I didn't know my daddy, but I'm what do you say? But I'm sure I shot out his dick ready. Gambit. That was hilarious, man.
That's funny.
I'm working that into
working in the everyday conversation.
yeah, somehow it's getting in there.
Damn it! I ain't know my daddy, but I'm sure I shot out of his dick.
Awesome. That's awesome. What's the next Marvel project coming up?
So before you close out on that, I would like for you guys to make some comments on, because I think it was very important, very cool, and I think I got an explanation from you guys on the connection with Oz and the time deal. Can one of you guys expound on that? The Wizard of Oz?
I don't.
Oh, like the multiverse things?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been a lot of different versions of Oz, and so he was saying like that was the first multiverse. Like there was like an Emerald TV show. There was Return to Oz. There was what was the other ones?
The Wiz.
The Wiz. There's like all like alternate versions of the original book, really. So I think that's what he was talking about. It's just like that was the original multiverse.
It went over my head, so
it went over mine. That's why I had to consult with you guys.
Yeah. Jay, what are the next Marvel projects you're looking forward to?
Daredevil, March next year. That's gonna be good. Even though Wonder Man looks good. Have you seen the Wonder Man?
I've seen the Wonder Man. I feel like I might be interested in Wonder Man.
Yeah, but not Daredevil.
Just from what I've read, they like. I mean, the Daredevil on Netflix was awesome. I feel like they're going to water it down for Disney Plus.
No,
that's the rumor, but we'll see.
No.
We'll see.
I haven't seen the Daredevil that I thought did much justice to it, but I'm hoping somebody we get a little bit of Avenger and X-Men type crossover. I think we dabbed into it a little bit, so I'm hoping for that.
There's too much money to be made for it not to happen.
Yeah.
What's Wonder Man's connection to Wanda and Agatha? Is there a connection there? Scarlet Witch, Vision.
I mean, there's a connection in the comics, but I don't know how they're gonna do it on screen. I don't know. I have no idea.
All right. Before we leave, I also like to give our shout out of the week, and I'm gonna shout out The Penguin on HBO Max. It's an awesome show. If you're not watching it, give it a watch. And also shout out to Grandma Rosie. Just wanted to say hello to Grandma, even though I know she'll never listen to this podcast. You want to give a shout out, Jay?
Yeah, shout out to Grandma Rosie too, man.
All right, good. Grandma Rosie. We have to force her to listen to it then.
Yeah.
All right, so as an in-law, I can't go against you guys. I'm in-law on that, so I'm going to keep your Grandma Rosie in it. And I do think she probably would listen. She spends a whole lot of time by herself now, and everybody's looking for anything to get her off of those television stations that she watches. Yep.
So we'll have to force somebody to show her this.
Yep. Alfred is down there right now. I don't know if we can get him to do it, but
all right, we'll get him to do it. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We will see you next time. For Leonard, for Jay, I am Contrell. We'll see you next time on the Infinity Streaming Podcast. Thanks. Say bye.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right.